He's James Collins.
He is Alec Cranston, and this is the Matter of Facts podcast. The Matter of Facts podcast brings you the unsung heroes, the unsung stories, news and happenings from across our wonderful city that you maybe thought happened but didn't quite know the truth behind.
And get you all in the loop on what's going on, what's to come, and what can we be prepared for.
Jenna, do you take Alec to be your husband in sickness and in health? For better, for worse, even when he's really old, wrinkly, and looks like a wet tea bag?
Oh, God. What a start.
What's the answer to that?
Yes.
She said yes!
Wow.
Welcome, everyone,
Cheers,
to
everybody.
the couples,
Cheers.
and especially one couple's wedding-themed episode of the Matter of Facts podcast. Woo. It is 2025. Now, normally around Christmas time, we do an episode where we used to call it the sort of partner episode. Now we can say wives. There was some scheduling conflicts in December, and then two people at this table, Alec and I, got married down in the Dominican.
How beautiful was it, man?
It was wonderful in January. No, Alec and Jenna, big congratulations to them. They are back in the studio, married. I think, Matt, you guys are still married, just to be sure. How long has it been?
We're still going.
Well, technically, we got married a week before we went. So before we went down
Legally
south.
married, before we left.
Legally married on December 31st.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I saw your reel. It was very good.
For tax reasons.
Did you like that?
I did, actually.
Thank
I was
you.
really jealous of that skill.
Yeah,
So,
that was not me. That was all, for tax purposes.
That was me. If you guys didn't hear, I was cracking some champagne for us to enjoy.
He has literally just poured
There
champagne,
we go.
so
One
pass
for
it
you,
around.
Jen, Jenna, James,
Thank you very much.
myself, and one other special one. This is our first episode with Odom. This is for Tucker. This is Tucker's.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, good.
This is for him.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh, no,
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I
but-
said to him, I was like, that's a dicey, but it's very
No,
nice.
that's honestly
So-
really touching.
There's three of us
And
left
he
on
would
this
love it.
episode.
Yeah, I'll just collapse into a pile of emotion.
I'm so sorry,
Thank
but
you.
he'll enjoy that.
Yeah,
That's
he
all
will,
good.
yeah.
Well, cheers, everyone,
Yes.
to
Cheers.
a long and happy
Cheers.
marriage.
Congratulations.
Alec and Jenna.
Clink, clink.
So this is Alec's
Glug,
sixth
glug, glug, glug.
marriage, and Jenna's first. But in seriousness, tell us about the wedding. You went down south and
you wanna start,
got
Jenna?
married. What more is there to know?
You go, Jenna.
That's it. Down south,
Oh.
84 of our friends and family. It was perfect weather. Honestly,
Yeah.
it was like, I think the best week of our lives.
Unbelievable,
awesome.
and it went off without a hitch. To be honest, that was the other thing too. Is anything could go wrong the day of the wedding, but it went perfectly. The ceremony, the reception, we had a welcome party too. Everything went really good, and the weather was good. The first day when everyone got there, it was pouring rain, like
Freezing
Yawn.
cold.
Sorry, it's kind of funny. I'll tell you what.
It's also good luck though to have some,
It
isn't
is.
it? To have some.
I did
rain
hear
around
someone say that. Yeah. So that was the one day, but everyone didn't care. Everyone was still out partying at the pool, drinking, eating. It was incredible. So
Yeah, if there was a day for there to be bad weather, it was that one because half of Alec's friends were already cut when they arrived to the resort. They
That
were
was a
taking
6 a.m. flight they
4:30
were on.
a.m. shots in the Halifax airport.
shout out to you boys. You guys did a great job. You put on a real show
I didn't even
for
know you
everybody.
could get a shot.
You can, yes. What's the
The Firkin Flyer.
The Firkin Flyer
course. I
was
should've known.
active at 4:30 a.m.
Wow.
and so everybody
That
was
where
pretty
the party
drunk.
was.
Yeah,
How many people with that? You'd have to put a beep noise in here, but how many people talk about that place and people go, they really named something at the airport the fucking Flyer?
The frickin' Flyer. There's another place too. It's
I
like a
frequent it.
Mexican joint.
Yeah, actually, it's cute.
The frickin' Flyer was open, and then the plane. They got cut off on the plane apparently. It was funny. My dad, Uber Todd, was on the plane.
Did he pick a cab up down there and do some shifts down south?
Well, we did see him disappear a couple times throughout each day, and
He was
we
in a
do think he
golf
was
car,
going.
yeah.
He probably thought he could make a few extra bucks, convert it to Canadian and whatever. But he did a great job. Anyways, he said the boys were cut off on the plane. They didn't know it, but the stewardess did cut them off. We were there for 2 weeks because we went a few days early, the 3rd. Everyone got there the 6th, pulling up on the bus. And then they left the 13th. We stayed till the 18th. So we had a little bit of time to ourselves afterwards, which was quite nice. And then the depression hit me on the last day when we were leaving.
I'm finally married.
I was like, looking at my hand.
Try
No.
12 years, buddy.
No, I was. It was more so the depression of Everyone was gone. I was like, and I didn't have anything to distract me anymore. I was like, oh, we're leaving now. This is sad.
You had a wife.
No, I do. I have
He's
a
like,
wife.
I have nothing.
I have a wife. No, I
have
have
nothing
to
left.
nothing to
I
live
have
for.
everything right here. I have everything I ever need.
No, but it is really hard. Vacation, it's almost like vacation hangover.
It's so
That's what it felt
weird.
like.
You
Yeah.
plan it, and you guys did this. Like,
Yeah.
you plan a wedding for 2 years, and then
You guys remembered your marriage license, unlike we did. You know that
Oh,
story.
right.
We'll go
Yes.
through it
Yeah.
again, but
Yeah.
we didn't have a marriage license accidentally on our wedding day. You guys did. So, okay, you
did,
you were
yeah.
married a week before.
So we didn't have to, any of the legality didn't have to come to Punta Cana. It was a symbolic ceremony because we did all of that at White Point.
White Point, yeah.
So it wasn't,
Yeah, what a
wasn't a
nice-
real
oh.
wedding. I don't know why
No,
we're doing the
it was
episode
like a
revealing you.
performance for sure.
I'm winding up.
Totally fake.
Yeah, a performance. So that was nice. Like, you didn't have to think about the stress of any of that kind of stuff, like signing papers and whatever, which I'm sure would have been chaotic on the beach. It was very windy. The ceremony was a solid maybe 5 minutes long, which was nice.
And I do need to hear about the moment that Alex saw you for the first time in your dress. Did he cry?
We did a first look. That was something we
Oh,
debated
you
for a long
did?
time.
Did a private
if we were
first look,
gonna
yeah.
do a private first look and private vows, and we did. And
Oh, that's
cried.
nice.
Yeah, it
Did he
was
cry?
nice.
I was
Aw.
so glad we did that. It took so much stress. I don't do the lip quiver.
Yeah.
I just get like
Just full on cry?
I just get like welled up and then a few tears come down. But I don't.
That's
like,
called crying, Alec.
Like I don't mean to. I know, but like
No, Alex, like it's manly.
I don't
I-
cry. I don't cry. The tear ducts activate, and these salty things drip down my face.
I
and
just
breathe
forget to
quicker.
blink and I start tearing
We
up.
differentiate because we really noticed at our wedding the difference between criers. For example, Alex's little brother Lachlan
buddy.
was sobbing,
Blubbering.
audibly, couldn't control it, face red, just going at it. And when Alec and I were crying during our speeches, we would just sit there like this, no change of expression.
You've
no
ripped
redness,
into him
just-
for it adequately
just
since.
tears.
No,
have
there's
you?
there was a good picture of him. I showed it to him. I was like, sorry.
Are you
buddy.
giving him an Andy Bernard mug?
Andy what?
Andy Bernard, the
Oh,
crier
Andy
of the
Bernard,
office.
yeah, crybaby. I could so sit here and cry. But yeah, we had like our brothers. They got more crying than me and her are more so like we just get emotional. Then a couple of tears might stream down. So people probably thought we just we
hated each
we
other.
hate
or
each other like
something,
whatever.
or-
But I got emotional at White Point. I think too. Like
The prices there are awful. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
$1,300 for a weekend.
once I started at White Point. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
over $1,000 for like
We love
2
it.
nights.
We love White Point.
Oh, yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
We're like you guys. We go a
I
couple
think it's
times
worth
a
it,
year.
but-
Me too.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
like unpaid ambassadors.
But if
for
you are
Oh, yeah.
interested, visit whitepoint.com to book affordable rooms for a great stay.
We had
Just say that,
we had
just so they
live
don't sue
music
us.
for our White Point. It was actually
Oh my
funny.
God, tell them about that.
Yeah, so we've been going to White Point together since we first started dating, 6 years ago or whatever. And we went there one time. There was a performer in the lounge named Jason Price. He's amazing. He's from Cole Harbor, really good singer, does a lot of country and some of his own stuff as well, does a lot of covers. So every year we go back, we try and time it to when he's there too, because we like listening to him. And then so this year we went back New Year's Eve and the day before. Our parents came up the day before to spend the night. And we were at the lounge, we were drinking, partying, and Jason was playing. And at the end of the night, we're all still sitting there, and he's all wrapped up. He's leaving. He comes over to say thanks to the table, and our moms? Our moms pipe up, and they're like, "Hey, they're getting married tomorrow, just with us there, and a justice of the peace at their gloam." So we're just like overlooking the lake. You should come play for us. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm in."
And I'm mortified, by the way.
Yeah,
in this
Jenna's like,
moment.
how
I'm
will
like,
this
It's like,
go?
I do
oh,
$400 cash.
My God, I'm so embarrassed because one of our ideas was that we weren't going to have our parents come with us to White Point. We were just going to get a random person because you have to have people sign your marriage license. And we were just going to ask like
Get
random
some of the bunny
workers,
rabbits down there to do
right?
it.
Like a bunny or someone. And then when we saw that Jason was going, we're like, oh my God, we're such big fans. We'll be little fangirls and go to him the night before and be like, hey, like, do you want to come to our gloam at this time for like 20 minutes tomorrow? And he's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, parents come, don't need to do that. So we're telling him that story. And that's when I think both of our moms were like, you could still come if you want.
Does he show?
He's like, absolutely, I would love to come.
Yeah. He
And
came.
he comes and he's like playing really like lightly in the background.
Our first
and,
dance
like,
song. That's what he played.
It was so nice.
He's like, I'm going to practice this new yodeling song I've written. You're trying to get married. Oh,
The Walmart yodel kid. No, he played like a soft tune in the background as it was happening.
Yeah.
And then when we were signing our papers, he sang a bit. And then we got some pictures and he sang some more. We got some photos with him.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So that was pretty cool. Then we had the New Year's Eve party there. Our parents left and then we
Yeah, I
partied.
saw you guys were living it up according to Instagram.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I did post
Posted
some
it.
stories, didn't I?
Okay, shall we go into Insane as the Crane?
Insane as the crane.
Insane is the crane. Insane is the crane. Kinda insane like the crane.
So it truly is something insane this month, and it's something that unnecessarily drove HRM wild. We're talking about the opening of the Burnside Expressway. officially, if you ask it, it wants to be called Sir. It has a formal name. It's actually called the Highway 107 extension. You have to really get to know it before it lets you call it the Burnside Expressway. It links Burnside and Sackville. 9 kilometers of asphalt, $210 million that the city has been waiting on pretty much since I got here 15 years ago, and it's finally opened. They built it to reduce traffic and cut travel time, mainly for residents, also for commercial traffic between Sackville, Bedford, and Dartmouth. Anyway, this thing opens up on the 20th of December. We're not in the country at the time, but I think everything happened except it appeared on BBC World News for my parents to watch. Did you guys, we're in Bedford where people were particularly titillated and excited about the expressway. Did you have the hysteria and the euphoria seep into Cole Harbour?
It's funny because I don't remember actually hearing about it when it opened that first day. But then I think it was like a week later, I had to drive to like Larry UTEC or something, which by the way is like the most inconvenient place to drive when you're in Cole Harbour. But I realized that it had opened and I went to drive it and it was amazing. I was flabbergasted.
Jenna's a believer.
I am a believer.
I call it the expressway climax, which is when people drive down it. They drive down it and they're so impressed with it, they have to go back and towel down their dashboard.
Yeah.
Jenna, you were glowing more than when you talked about the wedding.
I was fired up.
It was surreal.
So Jenna, if you had to rank marrying Alec or driving down the Burnside Expressway the first time, which was the best, more memorable experience?
I'd say that it's not fair to compare those two things. They
okay, let me ask you one more.
Very special places.
Could you
in my
do
heart.
without the Burnside Expressway or Alec more? You have to choose one.
Yeah, I'm going to plead the fifth.
Took too long to answer that one.
Right now. I have to also note, when I was a first or second year accountant, one of the engagements I worked on, I had the opportunity to do a site visit of that 107 extension before it was finalized as part of what we were doing for that engagement. And so I saw it and like drove through the rubble 4 or 5 years ago. So to see it come to fruition was pretty cool.
So that's
why
was
I'm
the
so
source of
excited
the
about
euphoria.
it.
Well, in
Yeah,
Bedford, everyone's
yeah.
waiting for this. So we have Talk Bedford, which is a community Facebook group. It's the Wild West. It's insane. All the best stuff gets deleted within like...
You should see the Cole Harbour Community
Yeah,
Connection.
aren't they all wild? Like, what's yours called?
Cole Harbour Community Connection, and it's they cast way too big of a net. They should break it up more.
Crazy Facebook group.
The definition of Cole Harbour
Ours
is
has
quite
broken
stretched.
up affairs that people have had.
They've done everything. Who the hell is in this vehicle who's been outside my husband's home? Fraud.
Yeah.
So people were so... Like, all we could hear, we're in the UK, and I'm like, Jen, people will not shut up about this effing Burnside Expressway. Then somebody realizes over in Dartmouth, Councillor Tony Mancini, big up, much respect for Councillor Mancini, who was successfully re-elected, good thing, has now given a hint that potentially today the Burnside Expressway will open, but not so fast, people of Bedford. There's still traffic pylons in the way. Then people are on Talk Bedford saying, we're so excited. We've put the kids in the car, ready to drive down it. It's like an afternoon out. Can somebody please post on the group when they move the traffic pylons? And then people were coming back on saying, is it open yet? Is it open yet? We're so excited to drive down it. We've like cancelled our plans this afternoon to take the kids down 9 miles of fucking asphalt. Anyway, finally, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, somebody puts this post up. They've removed the traffic pylons! And then we started about 20 minutes later getting reports. It's so smooth. The bends are so calm and easy to drive.
What were you reading?
Hey, yo.
My kids
What are you
loved it.
watching?
Yeah. So I said to Jen, there needs to be more going on here. That 9 kilometers of asphalt is sending Bedford into this frenzy.
Yeah, we were in the UK, probably having drinks at that point. And he was narrating Talk Bedford's complete meltdown about the Burnside Expressway.
Jen, Brenda Smith from Meadowbrook Drive has just been down it, and she says the road signs appear 20% brighter than others in the municipality. People were like narrating this road, and then I went down it for the first time at about 5:15 on a Monday morning, and I have never seen people use roundabouts like that. Signs were sort of vague suggestions. The lines meant anyway. It was pretty bad. I was very pleased I was adequately insured. I'll tell you that.
I took a ride down that asphalt recently. That was probably
Asphalt?
last week.
Asphalt. That is the correct pronunciation.
People say
of this
asphalt
word.
here too.
Asphalt felt
Asphalt.
good.
It's just the way you say
He's trying to say it the way he says it with an accent.
Gotta tell you,
He's got his British-
that asphalt amazing.
Aw.
So
That
I'm
is.
British, so I say it's ASH.
Ashfelt.
P-H-A-L-T. It's Ashfelt.
Yeah,
Fault.
that's what I'm hearing.
Now we
Ashfelt.
invented the language, remember, so that's the correct way to say it.
Okay. Anyways, I drove down it last week for the first time to our office and back. What a beautiful drive that was. It wasn't during rush hour, so I didn't notice a time difference. Like Google Maps said I could go either way. But normally I would take from Cole Harbor, go to the McKay, drop off, go down to Windmill, all the way up, and then...
So do that again.
All the way
What
up.
was that? Are you in a small motorboat or something going down the
That's
road?
me, like, just doing a weird rigmarole to get up to.
Hang on, wait there.
here we
Hang
go.
on. I'm just going to jump in my little small motorboat. Let me turn it on. Let me put it in gear. Off we go.
That's me. But I found the drive to be so much more smooth. It was amazing. I'm doing Donald
You sound
Trump.
like Donald Trump.
It was the best. It was the best
Drive was
one.
so smooth. I enjoyed every moment of it. No, anyways, I like that, and it was a nice, easy route, and we have a rink we go to a lot for hockey out that way too, by our office. So the route is nice. The asphalt felt nice.
So in summary, yay or nay, we'll go around. Yay or nay for the Burnside Expressway. I'm a grouch. Nay. Jen?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, it's a road.
$250 million
I don't
of
have an
public money
opinion.
to save me 3 minutes? Nah. Nay. Jen?
Yay, I think.
Jenna?
Absolutely yay.
Jenna's the biggest yay. I'm a yay as well.
I'm leaving. Have a good podcast, guys.
Even if that
What a
asphalt,
hater.
even that
Go take
asphalt
your
was,
Tesla somewhere else.
if that was pure lava, Jenna would love it. She'd be like, "Oh, well, that's the way you build right there." Now that's a connector. Okay, this episode's Harbor of Lies. So just a brief overview of Harbor of Lies. Essentially, this is a new segment James and I have created for this season of Matter of Facts. And how it works is one of us would come to the table each episode. We'd alternate with a story that we have to convince to be true, and it might actually be true. So it's either true or false. We'll tell the story in detail, and then the other person has the opportunity to ask 5 questions to better help them make their decision on if it's real or not. So Jenna and I will be telling a story from when we were down in Punta Cana, and then James and Jen will be able to ask 5 questions to determine what they think, if it's real or not. And then they'll guess, and then we can see if we beat them or not. All right, so want me to start the story and you can jump in, Jenna? Okay, so
Game begin.
taking back to Punta Cana, we got back on the 18th, but we got down there on the 3rd, with some of Jenna's family was there as well. And then the 6th of January was when everybody else came. 80-something people arrived on the same flight on the bus, including our grandmothers, which we were extremely happy were there. So obviously everybody traveled that day. They had to have their passport and get through customs and get to Punta Cana. Jenna's grandmother, love her so much, she realized not long after arriving that she lost her passport and had no idea where it was. So immediately we start getting to looking around for it and asking family members, maybe somebody took it, maybe somebody misplaced it, maybe she misplaced it. No. So then days later, they go to look at the cameras, right?
Yeah, it's worth noting too that it had to be at the Hard Rock because when you sign in to get your room, they require your passport. So we knew for sure it had to be at the Hard Rock, and it was a matter of, you know, did my nan lose it? Did they keep it at the reception desk? Did it get put in someone's purse? It's also worth noting that my nan went to take a nap in their room, but my parents were switching rooms. Okay, so they were in a regular room for the preceding 3 days. Everybody was coming. They were moving into a big suite that my nan was going to be sharing with them. So nan took a nap in one room. Later that evening, moved into another room. That's when they realized that nan lost her passport.
Yeah. And so they go to the Hard Rock security, top notch, to look at the video camera, look at the cameras to see where could this passport have disappeared, what could have gone wrong. And their claim was that Jenna's mom took the passport, was handed the passport from Jenna's grandmother and put it in her purse. However, I will note that they did not allow her to actually look at the videotape to see that that's what happened. They just told her that. So the assumption was that Jenna's mom took the passport. She's the one that lost it.
And this was the day before the wedding. And so it was drama for, I think there was 3 or 4 nights before the wedding that everybody was there. And so for 4 nights, everybody's looking around, tearing apart these rooms, contacting the people. Is it in that room she took a nap in? Where is it? And then finally, the day before the wedding, as we're waiting to hear back from security and the tapes, they finally come back and they're like, yeah, no, we have it on tape that you took it. So it's not our liability. So in the morning of the wedding, they're like, okay, we need to come up with a plan. Otherwise, my 85-year-old grandmother is going to be staying with us for the 5 days that we had, like we were going to be there for our honeymoon, and which would have been fine, obviously, but also she's 85 years old and probably doesn't want to be down south longer than 7 nights without my parents.
Nothing better than a grandparent on the honeymoon.
Right. Like we
Everyone
were
dreams of that.
very excited either way. And so, no, it was massively stressful for her and my family. And so then it was the day before the wedding that they decided, screw it, we're going to go to the embassy. So they drive to the embassy with a cab driver, apply for a temporary passport, come back. The morning of the wedding is when they decide we need to get the passport, because otherwise the passport, it was a Friday and the passport office wouldn't be open again till Monday morning. And that's when everybody was leaving at 6 a.m. So they're like, it has to come. We have to go get it today. But it's the morning of the wedding. Everybody's busy. Obviously, my mom, my dad, my nan, everybody. So then they decide they're going to pay a random taxi driver $100 to drive to the to the Canadian embassy to pick up the passport for them. So it's the morning of the wedding. I'm like, this is a crazy plan, you guys. Like, what if they steal it? What if they do a number of things? They decide to do it. Temporary passport shows up. Great. A day later, my nan goes, she likes to start packing early because everybody's leaving in 2 days, goes to pack up her room.
It was in her pocket.
It was in her safe.
Safe did its job.
It was in the
Good
safe, in her passport holder.
Right where it should
Shockingly enough, exactly right where it should be. My parents and my brother and everybody that scrambled said that they had looked in the safe, but they hadn't picked up the passport holder, and it was underneath it the entire time. So
that's it. When did she realize she didn't have it? Because initially I was going to catch you guys out on a lie that she got to the Dominican and realized she didn't have it and may have left it at home. And I was going to say not true, because you have to use your passport for an international flight to check in. You either have to scan it when you on an app.
Jenna covered that though.
Exactly.
Oh,
so then I
okay.
realized that. So, and we'll throw questions, but my first question is, tell me about that sort of moment and the context under realizing it was lost.
So neither of us were really involved in that because we were entertaining the other 75 people. So it was really just my parents and my two brothers that had realized it with her. I think it was when she got to their temporary room where she went to take a nap because she was tired after traveling, that she probably went to double check her things and realized that she didn't have it. So I think it was during that time period between after they checked in and she went to take a nap.
But had she been to her room by that point?
Well, everybody's room wasn't ready.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was in my parents' room that they had been in for the last 3 days.
So she checked her things though.
Into the safe.
So, but she didn't check her passport holder at that point?
Don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, wasn't a part of those details.
Well, if you're going to tell this story, I'm just kidding.
It's a good point though. So she must have had it at that point and then brought it into the other room.
Into the suite.
Yeah, because everybody was convinced that she must have brought it into bed with her and fell asleep and it got in the crack of the bed. But then we had checked out and it wasn't like they couldn't access that room anymore. So maybe to that point, it must have been when they were in the other room that they noticed.
Why did she apply for a temporary passport to return? Because there is a mechanism in Canada where if you don't have a passport and you can show other forms of ID, you actually don't need a passport to come home because you have a right to enter. So you don't need a temporary passport to return. You can show up, so I know a story of people who did it with utility bills and said, this is my name. You can search on a computer to get my photograph through your system. This is my address. I don't have my passport. I lost my passport and lost it on the plane or on the airport, wherever they lost it after they checked in, and they still get in. So, but I'm going to throw a bone to her on this one. Obviously, you're probably going to say they were just trying to get all their affairs in order, even if it was overblown. Is that? I'm curious why
I would
they
assume
felt
they
they
didn't
needed
know
a
that
passport.
rule.
Okay.
It is strange, though, after going to the Canadian embassy that they wouldn't have informed them that perhaps a different piece of ID, but also she's 85 years old. Maybe she doesn't have another piece of ID on her. I'm not sure.
Why do you want to know about this clearly fake? No, I'm torn. Story.
Yeah, I'm torn too. I kind of feel like it would be diabolical to use a grandmother in a lie. But I don't know, because...
Oh, I've seen Alec do worse.
They're both looking
once
very
used a
scheming
grandfather
right
in a
now.
lie.
I think, is she 85? Was the flight at 6 a.m.?
Is she
I
my
thought,
grandmother
okay, but isn't the
or
whole thing has
Alex?
to be a lie, right?
We said the embassy
Yes.
was 45 minutes away.
We're not
Like,
going
there
to
was
the
thought.
I
It was
question if your
44.
parents even have parents in the first place for you to even have ever had grandparents.
Well, that's a good point. So you got to think about those things. But the answer is yes.
I am a bit thrown on. I just say that just to see the way you guys to know. What I'm a bit thrown on, and I think you're going to say again, is because of the wedding, is why. Got to be careful what I say here. When you're in an unfamiliar country with unfamiliar people who may have different customs to yourselves, they would pay a cab driver to drive and collect a passport. He probably can't collect anyway because he's not the passport holder and is not authorized to pick it up. So how did that happen?
So you can actually call the Canadian Embassy, fun fact, in the Dominican Republic and say, hello, I'm authorizing this person to go and pick up our temporary passport. And the reason that they did that is we were all busy with the wedding, right? My nan was with us in our getting ready room, getting her hair and makeup done. My dad was with Alec and his dad, and all the groomsmen getting pictures. Like, weddings start at like 9 in the morning. Girls start at 6 in the morning. So it would have been pretty disruptive for one of my parents or brothers to take Nan to the Canadian Embassy that morning.
This is the thing. Your answers are so good. I believe this might be true, but I want you to.
Well, you want me to be the one
No,
that
I
you're
want
going to
you to
blame?
convince me. And Jenna, to your point, you're right that they're different. So Jen was up at whatever god-awful hour the morning of our wedding. 90 minutes before we were at the church, I was shoving a foot-long sub with my groomsmen in my mouth at Dartmouth Crossing. We then ran back to the room, put our suits on, and went. Like, it's so different for
Very,
men and women.
very different circumstances. My bridesmaids woke up at 6 in the morning.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jen, what do you want to pick apart on this one?
I don't know. Jenna's very convincing, but I think she's
I think we need to ask.
she's smart, right? That's
Alec
the problem.
is. We almost
haven't
want to
answered
get
any
the story
questions.
retold to see, but I'm not going to for time. See if Alec's story matches up. Is there anything specific Jen has said that you want Alec to clarify to see if the stories match? That's where I would
What
go. At
I'm
this point.
actually wondering is, so I think in a family it would be a big deal if then you find it in the safe that other people were supposed to have checked. So no one kind of said, "Oops, yeah, I checked that," or was it just like, "Oh well, we're all stupid."
I don't know. Only she would have known the code.
Yeah, and apparently because I obviously asked the same question to my mom, and she said that my brother, Michael, who traveled with my nan, because everybody else was there earlier other than one of my brothers, and so he was like very much invested into this story and participative, and apparently he said that he looked inside the safe with Nan, but that in those passport holders, there's like pockets on the front. It was in the front pocket laying like this. And so he looked in and didn't see it.
He's to blame.
Michael is to blame.
Sorry, buddy.
As per usual.
Oh,
Yeah, I just feel like
Sorry,
families
that ricochet
always
just hit
find,
you.
like,
It
it's
seems
the it's the
ridiculous.
punchline to be like, who
For
was
sure.
the idiot who didn't
Mhm.
notice it? Not your grandmother.
I think that it was pretty sensitive at that point because
Okay.
my mom, she told me the day after the wedding, she's like, I can finally tell you about the drama. I spent a whole day crying before the wedding because I thought that I lost my grandmother's passport, and she was devastated about it.
You can say it out loud, Jen. This is a podcast. You
No,
just-
because I'm trying to be circumspect, but it seems
Okay.
true.
yeah. So
But
I'm going to give my opinion, then Jen, you may get a split decision on this one. I'm going to say it's true just because there are so many layers to this onion, and I totally understand the fact that any drama around the wedding, the family would have shielded you from. We didn't really have any. We actually shielded people from our truth of not having a marriage license, but
yeah, we were the ones crying in
we were the ones panicking.
Yeah.
But I think, Jenna, you're either a really good liar and you're not
wow.
the person I thought you were,
She's got the most evil look on her face, too.
or
I
this is true. I'm a little concerned Alec didn't jump in with stuff, which does make me believe Jen is a better storyteller than we think, and maybe she's like, oh, I'll just take this one on and do it.
I know, and I also I'm curious about you being like, I don't know.
she knows more about the
the
story than me. I was less involved with the whole situation. I didn't even know what happened until everyone was gone, and she told me we were just hanging out. This all went down.
Well, according to Instagram, you didn't get off the golf course anyway. The whole
No,
time.
he was
Or out of the
trying. He was
casino.
trying food the entire.
I was trying food the entire
He was
time.
eating and drinking a lot.
Yeah, it was inspiring. to be
Right. I'm going
honest.
to call this. I'm going to say this does not exist in the Harbor of Lies. That this is true, based on just the. If you were going to make that story up, you're either a really quick thinker on the spot, or it's just true. What do you think, Jen?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's true, or Jenna's a sociopath.
Okay,
and I'm
so
concerned.
we're going with true. Final answer.
It's true.
It's true.
Oh, good. Oh my God, thank God. I was so worried.
Obviously, that's true. I'm the worst liar.
Okay, because I didn't think you were,
But you got
particularly
through
good
the
liar.
marriage vows.
Yes.
But you've got
hey.
this little like
a
look
good
you
point.
give when you're telling a story that's very like I'm like
This is a crazy circumstance to me.
yeah.
No, I
Okay.
like it, and I think every
God, your
wedding
poor
needs a
parents and your
story.
grandma-
It's
Oh
a sad story.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I'm just
all
glad
is
you
now
found
well.
it.
Yeah.
Grandmother is
It all worked
got a
out.
funny story, can laugh about it.
Yes.
All right. Well,
we
next
got-
time though, it is up to you then to break the streak because it looks like you guys are still even on the Harper of Lies.
I know.
So after all of that, we're going to play another game, which isn't like this podcast. We don't have fun on this podcast typically. No, I'm kidding. We're going to play a game that we've invented just for today. It's called Who's Taking the Blame?
It's time for a game. Who's taking the blame? Someone please tell me who is taking the blame.
And as you know, now you're a married couple. I mean, you've been together a long time, but you've got to get really good now at learning how to not take the blame for anything. Make sure that you pass it off to the other person. So this game is very simple. What we're going to do is we have a list of questions here. The couples are going to take it in turns to ask the other couple who is taking the blame for a certain thing. For example, who is taking the blame for ruining a perfectly good romantic moment. We then have some pieces of paper in front of us with our and our spouse's name on them. We have to hold up who we think it is. They're either going to agree or they're going to disagree, and then we're just going to give them like 45 seconds to tell us the story as to why they chose the one they did, and hopefully it will be funnier than the game
It's really
sounds.
good. I like this. It's like that shoe game, and I like that game a lot.
So we will.
Here we go, Jimbo.
We will ask Alec, and I'll give you guys my iPad
Timothy.
to choose one.
Timothy.
Alec and Jenna,
Oh,
okay? Here we go. Who's taking the blame for the weirdest way you have injured yourself at home? All right, declare your answers, please. Alec. It's Alec. Okay, so we will let Jenna, who had to witness it, tell us the story. Why Alec? Why is he taking the blame for the weirdest way that you've injured yourself at home?
It's really funny. I was going to put my own name down for a way I injured myself when I was a child, but then I immediately remembered that Alec last week really strained his back by sneezing. And he's been in rehab
it's called age.
ever since we went to our flag football game last night at 10 p.m. and we needed to go early so he could stretch because he was really nervous he was going to hurt himself
I've
from
been
his
nursing his
sneeze
back
injury.
I did hear.
So you did tell me, and I was aware of this in advance of the podcast
I
because I, called Alec.
thought James was kidding.
No, I went home. I said, Alec,
We're not
Alec.
kidding.
So what part of your back? Like
Right here, man.
right in the middle.
And to a point where, like, at the day and the day after that, if I went like that at all, it would the pain just ripped through my body to the point where I was like I lose my breath, right? And it was just, and I remember telling my dad, and he was like, "Well, you get to an age, bud, where you get when you go to sneeze, you got to brace yourself."
You got to overcompensate and lean back so the sneeze throws you forward into the right configuration.
We should hear her sneeze. We won't get down that road anyway. All right. No, but yeah, that's me. That was last week. Oh, I just pick one here. Okay, who's taking the blame for the worst travel disaster? James. Okay, now we got to hear from Jen. The story.
Okay. Briefly, we were in Florida. We left. We're thinking of the same one. We left for the airport in very good time. We were in a rental car. We were driving to the airport. Obviously, we had Tucker then, so he was in his little carrier. And James said, "Well, I need a coffee." And I said, "Well, you don't need one. You can have one at the airport." And he said, "No, I need a cappuccino." So I said, "Okay." So we stopped at Dunkin' Donuts. He gets in there. There's a guy chose donuts for about half an hour. James just watched him choose them. Was texting me the whole time going, "Oh, this guy's like, thinking about what donut he wants and he doesn't." Anyway, so I'm starting to get a little panicky because, we have to get to the airport. Anyway, so he gets in the car with his coffee. Then we need to return the rental car. And I said, "Well, we don't have enough time to get gas." And he said, "No, we're getting gas because they charge so much when you let them gas it up." And I was like, no, we're going to miss the flight. We need to go to a gas station. So we went to a gas station. Then we ran into a toll road. We didn't have any money for it. So we ended up getting a ticket. Anyway, we pull in, we run, we get to TSA. It's like a 30-minute thing through. We only had about 20 minutes to get to the plane. What happened? We ran to the gate and
We ran to the gate, and as I was running down the gate, I could see the Air Canada
and
plane.
I'm carrying Tucker in his carrier. Poor Tucker is literally, on a roller coaster. I'm sure he didn't know what was going on.
I say, Jen, it's okay. The plane is still there.
We
It's
could
at
see
the
it.
gate. Oh, no, it's reversing.
So we saw it pulling back. And then the woman went, "We have been paging you for about an hour."
Oh.
And
Next flight's tomorrow morning.
Yeah, they had held the plane for us for a couple minutes, but then she's like, "We got your baggage
I
off."
wouldn't even want to get on that plane at that
So
point.
she said, "Your baggage is on carousel, whatever." Had absolutely no sympathy, which is fine. To be honest, I understood. I'm sure
Fair
she
enough.
just thought we were complete morons, which we were.
That was that.
And then we had to get a really expensive hotel for the night.
Travel back the next day. And WestJet didn't charge us any extra. Kudos, big
Yeah,
up to WestJet.
WestJet
Actually,
were
let me
amazing.
put this on the thing. I hate WestJet these days. My allegiance is with Air Canada. So screw you,
That's
WestJet,
wild.
but thank you for helping me in that one time.
Nice. Okay.
So
All right.
yeah, that was our worst
You
disaster
definitely win.
ever.
That was
Yeah.
good.
You win.
Alec and Jenna, who is taking the blame for the most unnecessary purchase?
Okay. So both Alec.
Oh, Alec.
That's who I thought it was going to be just because I know
I want
Alec's
to
a
know what you're going to
shopaholic.
say to this.
First of all, let me just ask both of you what purchase you're talking about, and then we'll probably get Alec so we flip flop.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Is just like, what were you thinking? What was your purchase?
So
you
it
were
was
thinking?
either the suit when we were living with Emily and we had no money, or it was the cat.
That is the meanest thing you could say.
One or the other.
Which,
Oh,
which,
he's putting Alec.
which
Well, Alec was
cat?
thinking.
No, your second. Is it your second?
I love this cat.
Toby.
But
Your
he went to
second
pick
cat?
up litter and left with a cat.
Oh.
So like,
Yeah, she was in Atlanta. What can you do? I was, had to do something to do.
What
with
can
it.
you do? I mean, I had to get a
What
cat.
was
I
your?
love this
What are you
purchase.
thinking? What was
So
yours?
I actually didn't think of either of those. I thought of something I bought that I ended up canceling before it got to my house.
oh yes.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, and they were releasing this Green Goblin. I don't know if the Green Goblin. They were pre-releasing a Green Goblin mask, replica mask that goes on your face. I thought it was the sickest thing. It was like $200, and I was like, I gotta pre-order it. And this was like, it was supposed to come out December 1st. I ordered it back in like March. I was like, whatever, I'll buy it now. I'll forget about it. Whatever. I won't even know the money's gone because it's 7 months from now or whatever. And then I didn't realize that Amazon didn't charge me for it until it was going to be shipped, which was in December. And that was like prime wedding time. We were buying everything left, right, and center. Budget was strict. I had to be careful.
I can still feel the anger from that time.
And then I get a notification saying, we're about to ship your mask. You're about to be charged. I was like, oh dear. Like she's going to see that and I'm toast. Like we're like nitty gritty on placemats and random shit or whatever. And I'm like, oh, she's going to see that. And she's going to say, what's $200 in Amazon? Like, what'd you just order? Because we've been ordering everything off Amazon for the wedding.
That would have been comical.
So I was like,
honestly.
I bit my tongue and I canceled the order for the Green Goblin mask.
This is love. He loves you.
I know.
I feel like you
canceled
mentioned
it.
that on the podcast. That you were.
Maybe I mentioned that I was getting it. I told the Spider-Man
Yeah,
guy
the
that
Spider-Man
Back in better days when you thought
See,
you
I
were
do
getting
listen. I
it.
do listen to the podcast. I
I
even
thought I was
remember
getting-
that.
so I hope-
You're a
I-
better woman than me.
I hope I get
Well, I
it.
haven't listened.
My birthday's in April. All right.
Who is taking the blame for the worst driving mistake?
You can't look.
Oh, we have our first.
We have our first tie. We say each other.
Did you both say?
I'm
I think you both
trying to
say.
think of a driving mistake I've ever made.
So James said Jen said
Jen
James.
doesn't make colossal driving mistakes, but we've had a number of incidents where Jen has turned her car with too wide of a turning circle that time at Dartmouth Crossing, and she hit the woman next to her, and I had to pay the guy
Oh, well-
$400 in compensation.
Yeah, that's because I was driving your stupid BMW with the enormous. It was actually your fault.
And then Jen, she had a nice Acura, and she came into the office about 18 months ago, a little shaken, and was like, I've backed the Acura into a pole.
Oh, yeah. I
and
did
then
forget about that.
But
But he rear-ended someone on Portland Street.
BMW, Acura, Tesla. What else do you guys got? What other
Just
cars?
her-
Got a
just
Porsche.
the
Tesla,
a couple more.
the Tesla, I think we would reconsider these days, to be honest. But
A couple of Hyundais over here.
Yeah. Hyundai.
I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't think we've both made, and you are not a very good driver because you're crazy
Oh
when
my
you drive.
I'm
I
a
missed
very
the Buick.
good-
Is that a Buick you used to rip around in? The little,
Yeah, little chocolate truffle.
round one.
Yeah, the
chocolate one?
Buick caught fire on the 102 and got totaled, but
I
it did.
remember
That wasn't his fault that time.
That wasn't my fault. But no, you tend to hit things every now and then.
I don't think that's true.
You
Don't
do.
feel ashamed.
It's-
Jenna did too.
No, but it's just no.
Yeah, parking garage with nobody around.
Well,
Alex
To
With
be
nobody
fair-
around. You had to get in there with nobody around.
But I was in the passenger seat. It was my
Alec
fault.
was around and he screamed
Okay,
as I hit
scream.
the
I went, "Ah!"
pole.
That is a scream, Alec. What is that like?
Ah.
That's like when we were
When I
like,
hear
did you cry? No, just tears released
I didn't
from my
shriek.
eyes.
I didn't go.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's like, I
He
didn't
just sat there.
scream. I just made a shrieking noise.
Ah.
All right.
It's the same noise that people make when they go down the Burnside Expressway. Okay.
We'll agree to disagree. All right.
Well, that was a
That
good
my story.
episode.
Yeah,
Well,
that was a great episode.
From
Well,
Jen and I.
Yeah, congratulations, you two.
Thank
You're
you.
meant to
Thank
be.
you.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys are one of the best couples we know.
Wow.
Not the top. But I'm just
Stop it.
kidding.
No, not number one.
That's
Like,
so fair.
in the top two.
your top
I-
10,
fair.
top 10 of this
no,
month.
seriously. If there's any two people that are meant to be, it's you two. So very
Aw,
happy for
thank
you.
you guys.
Very happy for you.
Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Glad we
James,
could
do you want to
keep
say
doing
something? Do you want to
James
say
is
something
just
nice, James? Because I can feel you
beady-eyed
wanting
right
to tell
now.
a
Am I your
joke.
favorite employee? Come on.
No,
favorite
I just
customer?
wanted to say that, it's you spend your whole life looking for someone and then you find someone and then you marry them and you just did that. So congrats.
I was
I
waiting for
thought
something
it was- yeah, very profound.
and
Very
like,
profound.
Whoa, deep.
That
was
was-
I also
Thumbs
thought,
up.
yeah, I didn't know what you were going to say.
No, but
Actually,
seriously.
it could have been worse.
It could've
You
went
guys
way
are
worse.
you guys are a good fit, and what I will say about you is if
You're
I
a
knew
good fit.
if I knew either of you two independently of each other, I would definitely say you two should meet, and that's always a barometer. Is if you knew
Yeah.
Jenna
You're-
and
you're
I
a
knew
Jim and
Alec,
Pam.
we would be like,
Ah.
you guys should
Yeah.
get talking because you're both as weird as the other.
See,
and,
look
you
at
know.
the...
Did the camera look?
Jenna, start drawing something.
Yeah.
You gotta, no,
Yeah.
no, you're a lot cooler than Pam, actually. Sorry, I
Wow.
won't say that.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no.
guys.
This is fun.
Appreciate that.
yeah, that was fun.
You're welcome, and Alec and I will have our next spouses on whenever that happens too.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
we'll keep going.
Well, definitely after that comment. So,
Oh, this glass broke. Tucker broke the glass.
oh,
What are you doing, man?
oh my gosh,
From
that's like a
beyond.
sign from the beyond.
From beyond.
He's like, I don't like,
Honestly, that is what he would do.
he's
so
like, I don't like this shit. Like, give me
he's
this.
like, didn't you get me whiskey? That was his favorite.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
He always just preferred the water. Okay, cheers. We'll wrap
Yeah.
up with another toast to Alec and Jenna. Many happy
Cheers.
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 Cheers. Cheers.
Thank you once again for tuning in to the Matter of Facts podcast.
But you can get more of us. You can subscribe on any good podcast provider. You can follow us on Instagram at Matter of Facts Podcast. And for all that great feedback and abuse, you can send it by email to halifaxpodcast@gmail.com.
And of course, you can always find James Collins and I on the internet.
Please do get in touch, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
You've been listening to a Podstarter production.